This is AV SuperFriends Perspectives, a collection of interviews, discussions, and presentations from conferences, trade shows, and events that just don't fit either of the other two shows. Some are long, some are short, but they'll all have valuable insights, useful information, or just good conversation with thought leaders and subject matter experts. And now, the AV SuperFriends. So we are still at Northwest Met. We are live, pre-recorded at Northwest Met, and we are talking with Jessica Sunset from LightWerks, who's going to tell us all about integration, AV integration from the integrator's perspective, from working with colleges and universities.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks, gentlemen.
So you gave a presentation today. Can you give us like the 4-second version of you talked specifically
3 seconds.
Yeah, specifically about this topic on. Hey, if you're a university, you're a college, and you're working with an integrator, here's some things, here's some top tips, the 6 things you have to do.
Yeah, how about the one thing you need to stop doing? Let's just start there.
Okay.
So 3 project types, right? You can do it yourself. Talk to Joe about that. He does it all the time. You can do a design bid, which is a consultant specified bid, and it's farmed out to an electrical or general contractor. Or you can do a design build with your integration partner of choice. What we wanted to drive home today is really that we're seeing more and more as AV becomes a big part of these capital projects and bid projects. We're seeing more and more AV projects come out as a bid through the general contractor or electrical contractor. And we really wanted to talk about kind of the dangers of doing things that way and what we've experienced and learned from doing design bid projects versus design build projects. So at the end of the day, you know, you're paying a consultant a sizable amount of money, usually 10% of the project value, to design a system. There's 1 or 2 conversations with the actual end user, if any. And
I love where you're going with this, by the way.
Though some consultants are maybe great, they're not in the field every day. My guys are in the field every day. They understand that you can't mount a shore ceiling microphone 50 feet in the air in a necropsy lab with metal tables and glass walls. But there are...
watch this.
You can if all you want is the money. You definitely
can. You can if you want a big change order, right? So this process, though, what it does at the end of the day, when an integrator bids on these projects, what they don't understand is, or what a lot of end users and universities don't understand, is they come to us half-baked. The designs are half-baked. We have at most a week to review it, and then it's awarded on low price. And the really tough thing is, even if we have a relationship with the university, a really good relationship, we are contractually obligated to not talk to the university. We can only talk to the electrical contractor, the general contractor.
The structure of the contract.
The structure. Yep. And it creates a lot of stress. I shared a story because that's, that's how I paint the picture. So we work with a local college. We don't do design bid because we don't prefer it. And we don't think it's good business. We don't think it's good for the end user or for our business structure. And we did a bid for a local university because we had such a tight relationship with that university. And, we saw things in the design that we had to write 5-page RFIs for. And at the end of the day, you guys, that project had 147 files, 11 file folders, and 27 change orders that equated to almost $250,000 to the customer.
And it worked great on day 1.
And it worked great. And guess where my guys are 2 years later? They're there ripping out the microphone that was specified for 50 feet in the air. So what we really wanted to drive home today is, don't do that. You don't trust your general contractor to build your network system. You don't trust them to build out your phone system or pick your PCs or your furniture. Stop trusting them to do your AV projects. So take it out of the capital project. You can still maybe bid it in a different way. You can partner with someone through a contract, which we have. But please stop putting them out to bid.
So that's one of the fun things that I've inherited at UW is these projects are already in flight, and that's fine. I will let them go. but already kind of getting in there between the consultant, the integrator, the local PM, the GC's PM, and getting those change orders prepped for post contract. So as soon as that contract is done and closed out and the project is done, I'm running right in there with stuff and putting holes in walls and, and brand new buildings. So
exactly.
Because it was, to be fair, one of these in particular was designed pre-COVID. The design started like 7 years ago. And it's been one of these ongoing projects. But it is, I look at it and there's just so many terrible choices made because no one was really looking at it.
Correct.
No one really reviewed it, and no one was holding anybody to account on that. And so it means now it's my problem to deal with.
Absolutely. You inherit a big mess. And there's such an easier way to do it. And that's what we ended up talking about today. We've been doing this 25 years. What are the keys to a successful project? And it really starts with obviously a relationship, a really good site visit. Show us your classrooms that work well. How do you label your cables? Do you want a certain type of Velcro? You know, my install manager, Cesar Barreto, if you've met this guy, I mean, he's just incredible. He works till 2, 3 in the morning with no problem for Cesar. He always says when we, do a new project, he said, think like our most junior technician. If you're the client, can you tell us where we park? Mm-hmm. What's the access? What are the safety restrictions? Are there challenges in this building? Is there asbestos in the ceiling? Help us think like an integrator, basically, and download that information. So if we get in early when we're meeting with the architects, we have a kickoff meeting with all the stakeholders. We have a full drawing set with all of the infrastructure called out. We have a review, a full drawing review, a scope review. Those are the things that make a project go smoothly. And then, besides that, of course, just crystal clear communication. It's like a good, healthy marriage. There might be some nights where you have to bring roses, but just have good, open, honest communication, even when it's hard. And that makes a huge, huge difference.
So I had two things for you. It's like one where you kind of talked about the universities when they do this bid process, right? And I've spoke about it on the show before, where I often feel like the universities being like the prey in predatory lending because they're so slow to move and the contracts are written in a very specific way where a lot of these outside firms are just there to take advantage of that, right? And we've all had that dreaded project where it's, we can't, it's past that time. We can't do that now. And that's going to cost you this much in a change. And it can be the simplest thing. So what are some of the tools and tricks to kind of, when you identify those friction points, where you say, we acknowledge this is not right. We want to rectify this right now. If we have to go to bid, or even somebody's going to do turnkey everything solution, so how do you manage some of that friction point when in that review process? Because inevitably something's going to get missed, and we're going to have a point where we're going to kind of have to go back to the table and review. And so some of that handoff between university and outside integration firm, like what's the best way you see to kind of get through those moments when we have to find a solution for whatever it is, and dollars and cents are on the table? Like how do you navigate that?
Just again, a crystal clear conversation. I mean, you should know up front who the person is at your integration firm that you need to go to, your project manager or your sales professional, and talk through those. We like to say we work through problems with you, right? That's just it. Every project has its challenges, always. But if you do some of these, if you get the drawings in early, if you both agree to the scope and you review the drawings together and you review the touch panel together and you've established a communication chain, there's way less that can go wrong. So, be open, be transparent, and just know that we always have your best interest at heart. If you're working with a good partner, we always want to do right by you. And just know that.
I mean, what's your take on kind of the a la carte option, or maybe we need somebody that's going to provide some labor to offload some of the stuff. Maybe internally we do a lot of work, we do 90% of our work, but we just need some labor, and it's not all of it. It's already designed. We already know what the bill of materials is going to be. It's going to be this. We just need somebody to come in and help us with labor because we're just swamped right now. Like, how do you navigate that process?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. Very relevant. Every integrator does it differently. And it's really integrator per integrator. Some integrators were also strapped for resources, mostly. So, and there's licensing requirements in certain states. So typically LightWerks, for example, doesn't like doing labor-only jobs unless you buy a bucket of hours. That is a good way to do it. Like, there's an equal commitment there. We're going to buy a 200 bucket of hours this year that will last us, doesn't expire. We want you to be our labor partner, but there's a mutual reciprocity there. That's a good solution.
Well, that's an interesting concept
Yeah.
too, just of buying into a bucket of time that you spend over the next year or so.
Right, and then you get to know the same people and the same. You get to know the same technicians that come to site. So yeah, we have lots of customers that do their own projects, but you guys know you're getting more rooms, more buildings. You're not getting any more people to support them, and sometimes you need a little bit of help. So it really depends integrator to integrator.
Okay. So what about let's step away from the larger capital projects. What about on a kind of a more, I hate to phrase it this way, but a mundane day-to-day project? I need you to come in and install 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 rooms or whatever that might be. What can we, as in higher ed, as a college or university, and you as the integrator, what can we do better when we bring you in for a project, when we first engage with you, or what throughout that process? And I understand that the correct answer is parking, but there's a lot of things that we're not doing, especially the smaller schools who don't have the staff to have 2 engineers on staff to design all this stuff, or someone going through and actually writing the program. What, from a college and university perspective, we're engaging with an integrator. What can we do better?
You can always, the first thing my engineering team asks me for is drawings. We always need a layout of the building. We have to have that in a PDF. We would love to have a CAD set. If there's any existing technology, we would love to have those drawings, those as-built, so data. And then, of course, we want to understand your standards. What does that look like? What brands are you using? What's important to you?
I'm supposed to have standards?
Your application, if you have standards. We're not talking about dating, Chris. Come on. You definitely want to have standards, or to tell us and relay your standards. And then you want to make the communication channel clear. Who is it that we communicate with? Because you're going to have a lot of stakeholders involved, maybe facilities, maybe hopefully your networking team. That's huge. We can have those conversation early with all the IP addresses and MAC addresses, and just bring us in early, get us the drawings that you have, and then work with us on a conversation.
So the more information we can provide, the more stakeholders we can at least engage with on our side, so that we have that all lined up when we start that conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good to know. Real quick, what challenges then, from your perspective, what challenges do you have when working with colleges and universities? Let's say on these smaller projects, hey, we're doing 8 or 10 rooms. We're working with you directly. There's no GC involved. There's no EC involved. It's just us and the facilities group. What are the challenges you keep seeing over and over and over at these colleges and universities?
The only thing, because genuinely, you guys really do a good job. I mean, we're very lucky in that way. I mean, the best job is done by you, of course, but just have realistic expectations.
Okay.
That's especially with the supply chain issues we're experiencing now.
So I'm not calling today, you're coming tomorrow, and it'll be done on Thursday, sort of thing?
Correct. And that is still a challenge with how budgets get allocated.
Classes start in there in September.
Classes start on Monday.
So that's a good point, Mark. So access, actual room availability, realistic timeframes. If we tell you this is going to take a team of 4 technicians 2 weeks, and you say, I can only give you a week, that's not setting us up for success.
Right.
So give us the space and give us plenty of time to get your equipment there and get you scheduled.
Okay. Fair enough. Be realistic with timelines, especially this year, but yeah.
Right, which is really a year. I mean, speaking of, it used to be 4 to 6 weeks we could get a PO and be on site. Now it's 6 to 8 months and really a year. The jobs that I'm walking now, I'm installing next summer.
Yep. Yeah, we told about that. We're planning next summer.
Yeah.
Well, 2022 is the summer of deferred maintenance. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Awesome.
All right, Mark, any last thoughts?
No, I think we got into it. I love it. It's so right here, recap is communicate early and often, and be transparent and provide parking.
And
nailed
roses.
it.
You did
And
say
roses.
bring
I heard roses as
Bring
well.
roses, right? All the
Come
things.
into a meeting with parking pass and roses.
Right.
We're good.
We'll bring the coffee and bagels.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, you
If
guys.
people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can get in contact with you?
503-453-7358, and I sing it so that my kids would remember it. So hopefully you will too.
All right.
All right. Jessica, thanks very much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Double trouble. Bye.
Well, that wraps up another episode of AV SuperFriends Perspectives. If you have a perspective to share, you can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.